What's happening, guys? I'm Dan. Welcome back to the channel. We're diving back into more craft beer coming from Normal, Illinois. So this is Destihl Brewery, guys. I have very little experience with them. Literally maybe only one or two beers I think I've ever had from them. One I did review on the channel. I think it was a collaboration beer. Thought it was okay, but I know that these guys do some really awesome stuff. I just have very little experience with them, so I thought I would sit down and review this one with you guys. It is the DeadHead IPA, which is a West Coast-Style IPA, one of my favorite categories. And the West Coast-Style Ale, I feel like, or West Coast IPAs really come back around being super popular as of late, the last 2 years or so. Again, the pendulum, I talk about it all the time. It swung from, the old school beers to the New England style, the haze bombs. And then we went kind of away from that, even though they're still out there, of course, because they're still popular. But you used to see a lot of the old school lagers, a lot of the German beers. We're seeing a lot of West Coast IPAs, so I really love reviewing these with you guys. So one bad thing about this, canned on 9/13. That's really above the threshold where I like to review it with an honest review. Almost 4 months old. Yeah, time of recording, it's the 11th of January, 2025. So October, November, December, January, almost 4 months old. Ugh. Hate to see that, but whatever. We're going to still give this a go, guys. Support flavor, boycott bland. Like the bold colors, patterns of a tie-dye shirt, this West Coast-Style IPA is bursting with psychedelic hoppiness, fruity aromas, balanced bitterness, Citra, Simcoe Chinook hops, cool. Vintage malt backdrop. Cheers, 7%, 60 IBUs. So really that sweet spot for IPAs. I mean, really between 6 and 7 is pretty good for me and just the standard in general. Let's dive into this, the DeadHead IPA. I think this is like a series. They do different kinds. But this one's been around a while. I don't know why I didn't review this sooner. Maybe it's because I thought the other beer I had from them was just okay. But I could have reviewed this a long time ago. I don't know why I didn't. Now I'm upset. So as I pour this, pretty cloudy actually, a little bit hazier than I thought. I thought it'd have more clarity, but okay. Bright white, fluffy head. It's pretty oily, slipping down the side of the glass. You guys can kind of see that. Look at that. We'll give it a little rock. Get a little orange marmalade in the glass. You can see that as well. Again, not great clarity here, but you have some moderate carbonation streaming to the top. Again, little tiny white head sitting on top. Yeah, I mean, sure, West Coast. I'll play on, rock on. Let's get a nose. I mean, for being 4 months old, it doesn't smell like oxidized or anything. I mean, a little bit of malt bill, such as caramel, white bread mixture. A lot of citrus. Gooseberry, passion fruit, grapefruit, orange. A little bit of marmalade. I always felt like the word marmalade out there. I do get a little bit of that, sugary kind of citrusy, jammy marmalade in there as well, but it doesn't come across like super sweet. Again, hugging the malt bill a little bit. Cantaloupe and passion fruit gooseberry, like definitely outstanding in this, and good aroma off the top for being 4 months old. A little bit of like earthy pine playing into this as well. I always say honey. Yeah, okay, fine. Honey marmalade. It's in the mix, right? It doesn't smell like super malty though. Some West Coast beers kind of hug the old school maltiness. I don't really get that. It smells more new age to me. It smells more hybrid to me in the nose. Doesn't smell like super bitter or hoppy or piney. But it's got a really nice aroma, truthfully. I think this is pretty good up front on the nose. Let's dive in. Let's forget it. Let's talk about the taste. Let's forget about the smell, guys. Let's dive in. Cheers. Destihl. Am I saying that right? Destihl. Cheers. Oh, bitter. 60 IBUs. Feels bigger than that on the back end. Wow. Hugging the bitterness, hugging this like earthy, piney bitterness on the back end does really hang on. Wow, that's what you like, baby. That's West Coast beer right there. This beer is dry. Very dry. Earthy, resinous pine. And definitely a little bit of grass playing into the mix. I wouldn't say it's like herbaceous or dank, really, right? Sometimes you get that in the West Coast. I wouldn't say it's any really much of those things. Chewy navel orange, grapefruit pith, pink grapefruit. Almost like a tart bitterness from that grapefruit playing into the bitterness on the back end, the resinous spininess. It's not super crazy malty or anything. Like sometimes you get those old school West Coast beers, that really hug the maltiness on it. It comes across like caramel rich malts. It ends up being like more of a dense bomb through the middle. It doesn't really have that feel. Again, it's kind of relying on the citrus in the front, and then you're getting a nice hefty dose of that bitterness on the back end. The middle's kind of just like a smooth little bit of hoppiness. Honey marmalade citrus through the front and middle. 4 months old. It's pretty good. I mean, it's got a little like grassy, peppery, piney pithiness to this on the back end. Plays into the resinous pine. A little bit of chew. Navel orange. Grapefruit. Again, the pith, the oils. A little bit of the tartness from the skin of the fruit. You get a little bit of like lemon peel. And then again, really just leans into this big burst of bitterness on the back. It's super dry, but there's a fair bit of like sweetness in the beginning, and it didn't smell like it was going to be so hoppy and bitter off the nose. It smelled a little bit more sweet on the nose. The nose is really good, actually. Again, 4 months old. I would love to try this on tap. I'd love to have it fresh. But I love this hop combination. I always feel like that's a winner. Citra, Simcoe, Chinook, or, Mosaic, whatever. Throw that all in the mix. It's always a really good winner. The bitterness hangs on. It really does lean into the West Coast roots. It's a new age hybrid, old school West Coast beer. Some sort of hybrid going on here. I do think this is good. I think it's like $11. 10, $11 for this. Maybe 12. 6-pack. So, I mean, this is really good value here. Really good quality coming from Destihl. And I think this is a solid beer. A really solid beer. I'm not getting much of that like gooseberry passion fruit thing that I was getting on the nose. Not really getting it into the taste. Doesn't translate there. But yeah, I mean, this is good. This is like new age West Coast / hybrid West Coast beer. I think it's really great actually for being 4 months old. So where do I put this beer? Let's go with I don't know. Where do I want to put this beer? A little bit of chew, a little bit of spicy earthiness, spicy pine. It's like like white peppercorn flakes thrown into this like resinous piney bitterness. Man, it really hangs on that back end, man. The more you drink it too, it gets less fruity as you drink it. Gets a little bit more dry. Gets a little bit more like abrasive on the palate. But it's West Coast. What do you want? 3.95 out of 5. I think this is really good. 4 months old. Would love to try it fresh. Destihl, not bad. So guys, a 3.95 from me, and thank you so much for being here. Till next time, pros, cheers, yamas. See you on the next one.